Why did my older brother finally face what he spent years blaming on me? The detective slid a photograph across the table, and my stomach dropped through the floor. It was my brother Dominic, handcuffed in our family kitchen, wearing the leather jacket I reported stolen 6 weeks ago. Detective Angela Reyes watched my face with tired eyes. She said Dominic gave a statement claiming I masterminded the whole thing. She said my name appeared 14 times in his confession. I felt my hands go cold because I had security footage that proved I was at work when everything happened. For the first time in 23 years, my brother's lies were about to collapse under the weight of actual evidence. Dominic started blaming me for his mistakes when I was 8 years old. He stole a neighbor's bike and told our mother he watched me sneak out at night and take it. I was grounded for the entire summer while he sold the bike to a kid 2 blocks over. When he crashed our mother's car at 16, he claimed I had been messing with the brakes as a prank. When he emptied her savings account for a failed crypto scheme, he swore I convinced him the investment was legitimate. Every single time, our mother believed him. He was the responsible one. I was the problem child. The story was written before I could even read. I moved out at 18 and put 300 miles between us. But people like Dominic do not stop just because you leave. Our grandmother passed away 2 years ago and left each grandchild about $62,000. A lawyer named David Okonkwo called me at work one afternoon and asked if I received any communication about the estate. I told him I had not spoken to my family in 3 years. He went quiet for a moment, then said that according to court documents, I had already received my share and signed a release waiving future claims. Someone had forged my signature, cashed a check in my name, and stolen my entire inheritance. The mailing address on file was my mother's house, where Dominic still lived rent-free at 31 years old. The investigation took 6 months. Detective Raymond Cross executed a search warrant on my mother's house and found documents that should not have existed. Bank statements in my name, credit applications I never filed, a laptop with my personal information saved in a password-protected folder. But the real evidence was hidden under a loose floorboard in Dominic's bedroom. A notebook with my signature practiced over and over again, page after page of someone learning to write my name until they got it perfect. Cross photographed everything and entered it as Exhibit D. Then he called me and said they were preparing to file charges: identity theft, fraud, forgery, enough to send Dominic to prison for years. I told him I did not need to witness the arrest. What I needed was to never see my brother again. 2 weeks after Dominic made bail, my mother called from an unknown number. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Dominic was telling everyone I framed him, that I planted the evidence, that I had been planning this for years as revenge. She said she believed him. She said she always knew I was capable of something like this. She said I should be ashamed for destroying my own brother's life over money. I hung up without responding. There was nothing I could say that would change a mind that had been choosing Dominic over reality for my entire life. The trial lasted 4 days. Dominic's lawyer argued that I planted the notebook during a visit no one remembered. Our mother testified that I was always a troubled child with a history of blaming Dominic for things I did. Then the prosecution called a surprise witness named Keisha Barnwell, Dominic's ex-girlfriend from 2 years before the inheritance scheme. She testified that Dominic bragged about making his little brother take the blame for things since they were kids. She said he laughed about it, called it the easiest trick in the world. She said he even showed her how he practiced forging signatures. I watched Dominic's face while she spoke. For the first time since the trial began, he looked terrified. The jury deliberated for 6 hours and came back with a unanimous verdict, guilty on all counts. When the judge sentenced him to 9 years, Dominic finally lost his composure. He stood up screaming that this was a setup, that I destroyed his life, that everyone would see the truth eventually. 2 bailiffs dragged him through the door while he screamed my name over and over again. My mother stopped trying to contact me about a year ago. She tells people I betrayed the family, that Dominic would never have gotten into trouble if I had not provoked him. Same story, different ending. She will probably die believing that version of events. Last month I got a letter from the prison. Dominic said he was sorry, said being locked up gave him time to see himself clearly, and what he saw made him sick. I put the letter in a drawer with the trial documents. I do not know if someone like him can actually change, or if this is just another manipulation. But I keep the letter because it proves something I spent my whole childhood doubting. The truth does come out eventually. He used to say no one would ever believe me. Now he is serving 9 years because 12 strangers looked at the evidence and saw exactly who he was.